Admiral Jake Morrison was drinking his morning coffee when the emergency alarm started ringing through the ship. He put down his cup and ran to the bridge of the UES Liberty. His boots made loud sounds on the metal floor as he hurried through the hallways. "What's going on?" he asked as he entered the control room. Commander Alex Turner looked up from his computer screen. His face was pale and worried. "Sir, we just got a distress call from New Haven Colony on Kepler 442b. It's bad, really bad." Jake walked over to the main screen where the message was playing. A woman's voice came through the speakers, shaking with fear. "This is Governor Lisa Parker of New Haven Colony. We are under attack by unknown alien forces. They have plasma weapons and they're destroying everything. Our defenses are down. We have 15,000 people here, including children. Please help us. We don't have much time." The message cut to static. Jake felt his stomach drop. New Haven was one of Earth's newest colonies, established only 3 years ago. It was supposed to be safe, far from any known hostile alien species. "How long ago did we receive this?" Jake asked. 20 minutes ago, sir." "The message took 2 days to reach us through hyperspace communication," Turner replied. Jake nodded. That meant the attack had started 2 days ago. He hoped they weren't too late already. "Get me Captain Ryan Brooks on the Guardian, Captain Nina Hayes on the Defender, and the other ship commanders. We need to move now." Within minutes, the other captains appeared on the communication screen. Captain Brooks was a big man with gray hair who had served in the Earth Defense Force for 20 years. Captain Hayes was younger, but known for her quick thinking in dangerous situations. "You all heard the distress call," Jake said to them. "We're going to New Haven to evacuate those colonists. This is what we trained for." Dr. Kevin Stone, the fleet's chief medical officer, joined the meeting. From the medical ship Hope, "Admiral, I'm preparing all medical bays for wounded colonists. We should expect injuries, maybe severe ones." "Good thinking, Doctor. How long until we can depart?" Jake asked Turner. "All ships report ready in 30 minutes, sir. We just need to load the last of the medical supplies and evacuation equipment." Jake looked at the faces on his screen. These were good people, all volunteers who had joined the rescue fleet because they wanted to help others. The rescue fleet was Earth's way of making sure no human colony would ever be abandoned in a crisis. The Liberty was the flagship, equipped with advanced sensors and communication systems. The Guardian and Defender were armed escort ships that could protect the civilian evacuation vessels. The Valor carried special rescue equipment and could land on planets to pick up people. The Hope was a floating hospital that could treat hundreds of patients. "Attention all crew," Jake announced over the ship's speakers. "We have received a distress call from New Haven Colony. Hostile aliens are attacking our people. We are departing immediately to evacuate all colonists and bring them home safely. This is what the rescue fleet was created for. Today we prove that Earth never abandons its own." Engineer Maria Santos was in the engine room checking the hyperspace drive when the announcement came through. She had volunteered for the rescue fleet because her brother lived on a frontier colony, and she knew how scared colonists could feel when they were so far from Earth. Communications specialist Danny Walsh was at his station, trying to get more information from New Haven. But there was only silence now. Either the colonists couldn't send messages anymore, or something worse had happened. The 5 ships of the rescue fleet left Earth's orbital station exactly 30 minutes later. Jake watched through the bridge windows as Earth got smaller behind them. He had made this journey many times before, but never for a combat situation. The rescue fleet had helped with natural disasters, equipment failures, and medical emergencies. They had never faced hostile aliens before. "Sir, I'm detecting something strange in the sensor data from New Haven," Turner said, looking at his computer. "What kind of strange?" "The distress call mentioned plasma weapons, but our records show no known alien species in that sector uses plasma technology. This might be a first contact situation with a new hostile race." Jake frowned. First contact was supposed to be handled by diplomatic ships, not rescue vessels, but they couldn't leave 15,000 people to die while waiting for proper first contact protocols. "Are our weapon systems ready?" he asked. "Yes, sir. All ships report defensive systems online. We're not warships, but we can protect ourselves and the colonists." The journey to Kepler 442b would take 3 days through hyperspace. Jake spent those days planning the evacuation with his captains. They would drop out of hyperspace at the edge of the system and assess the situation. If the aliens were still there, the armed ships would engage them while the Hope and Valor evacuated the colonists. Dr. Stone worked around the clock preparing medical supplies. He had dealt with war injuries before, during the Mars colonial uprising, and he knew what plasma weapons could do to human bodies. On the second day, they received another message from New Haven. This time it was shorter, and the voice was different. "This is Acting Governor Tom Miller. Governor Parker is wounded but alive. The aliens have stopped attacking, but they're surrounding the colony. They seem to be waiting for something. Please hurry." That message worried Jake more than the first. 1. Why would hostile aliens stop their attack and just wait? It didn't make sense unless they had a specific plan. "Sir, maybe they're waiting for us," Turner suggested when Jake shared his concerns. "What do you mean?" "Think about it. They attack the colony but don't destroy it completely. They wait around instead of finishing the job. Maybe they know Earth. We'll send a rescue fleet." Jake stared at the star map showing their route to New Haven. Turner might be right, but even if it was a trap, they couldn't abandon those colonists. The rescue fleet had sworn an oath to help any human in danger, no matter the risk. As they approached the Kepler 442 system, Jake gathered his crew for a final briefing. "We're going into an unknown situation against an unknown enemy. Our job is to save lives, not win battles. Get those colonists and get out. Stay together, watch each other's backs, and remember why we're here." The hyperspace engines powered down as they reached their destination. Jake took a deep breath and prepared to face whatever was waiting for them at New Haven Colony. The rescue fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Admiral Jake Morrison expected to see the planet New Haven in the distance with maybe a few alien ships nearby. Instead, his blood turned cold at what appeared on the main screen. Hundreds of alien ships filled the space around the planet. They were arranged in perfect battle formation like they had been waiting for days. The ships were long and dark, shaped like giant insects with wings spread wide. Jake had never seen anything like them before. "Sir, I'm counting over 300 enemy vessels," Commander Turner said, his voice shaking. "They're surrounding the entire planet." Captain Ryan Brooks' voice came through the communication system from the Guardian. "Admiral, this looks like a trap. They knew we were coming." Before Jake could respond, every screen on every ship displayed the same image. An alien creature appeared, tall and thin like a giant bug standing on 2 legs. Its eyes were black and huge. And when it spoke, its voice was cold and clear. "Humans of Earth, I am War Commander Zethar of the Zephyrian Empire. You have walked into our web exactly as we planned. Your colony New Haven was bait, and you took it perfectly." Jake felt sick to his stomach. "Open a channel," he ordered. "We are here for peaceful evacuation of our colonists," Jake said. "We don't want to fight you." The alien's mandibles clicked together in what might have been laughter. "You're peaceful. Nature is exactly why you will die today. We have studied you humans for months. You always come to rescue your weak. You cannot help yourselves." On the tactical display, Jake watched as the alien ships began moving into attack position. The rescue fleet was completely surrounded with nowhere to run. "We have your colonists," the alien continued. "They screamed beautifully when we used them to learn your language. Some are still alive, but not for long. Today we show the galaxy how easily humans die." "All ships, evasive maneuvers," Jake shouted into his communicator. "Guardian and Defender, protect the Hope and Valor." The battle started immediately. Bright green plasma bolts filled space as the alien ships opened fire from all directions. The Guardian took the first hit, a massive plasma blast that tore through its hull near the engines. "Brooks, report." Jake called out. Captain Brooks' voice was strained. "We're hit bad, Admiral. Hull breach on Deck 7. We're losing power to weapons." Captain Nina Hayes maneuvered the Defender between the medical ship Hope and a group of attacking aliens. Her ship's guns fired back, but the human weapons seemed weak against the alien shields. "Their shields are too strong," Hayes reported. "Our weapons aren't doing enough damage." Dr. Kevin Stone was trying to coordinate from the Hope when 3 alien fighters broke through the Defender's protection. Plasma fire hit the medical ship's engine section, causing massive explosions throughout the vessel. "Medical bay is venting atmosphere," Dr. Stone reported. "I'm trying to seal the breaches, but we have wounded crew everywhere." Jake watched helplessly as his fleet was torn apart. The aliens were not just attacking randomly. They knew exactly where to hit each human ship to cause maximum damage. They had studied Earth's rescue fleet design and found every weakness. Engineer Maria Santos was in the Liberty's engine room when the ship took a direct hit. The explosion threw her against the wall and she felt her arm break. Emergency lights flashed red as systems failed all around her. "Engine room to bridge," she called through her communicator. "We're losing power to the hyperspace drive. I need 10 minutes to fix it." "We don't have 10 minutes, Jake replied as more plasma bolts hit the Liberty's shields. Communications specialist Danny Walsh was desperately trying to send a message back to Earth, but the aliens were jamming all long-range communications. "I can't get through, sir. They're blocking everything." The Valor, the ship designed for planetary rescue operations, exploded in a ball of fire. Jake watched as 200 good people died in seconds. The ship had been carrying special equipment to evacuate colonists quickly, but now it was just burning metal floating in space. Captain Brooks tried to ram his damaged Guardian into one of the larger alien ships, but plasma fire cut through his vessel before he could reach the target. The Guardian broke apart, its pieces spinning away into the darkness. "Nina, get out of there," Jake called to Captain Hayes as her ship took hit after hit. "Negative, Admiral, I'm covering the Hope's escape pods," Hayes replied. Her ship was burning, but she kept firing at the aliens attacking the medical vessel. "Doctor?" Stone's voice came through the communicator one last time. "I'm staying with my patients. If anyone survives this, tell Earth that we tried our best." The Hope exploded moments later, taking the doctor and 300 medical personnel with it. Commander Turner was preparing the Liberty's escape pods when another massive explosion rocked the ship. "Sir, the reactor is going critical. We have maybe 2 minutes before it explodes." Jake made the hardest decision of his life. "All hands abandon ship. Get to the escape pods now." Turner grabbed the ship's black box and the mission recordings. If anyone survived, Earth needed to know what really happened here. The escape pods launched just as the Liberty's reactor exploded, lighting up space like a small sun. The Defender finally died under concentrated alien fire. Captain Hayes had fought until her weapons ran out of power and her ship could barely fly. Her last message was simple: "Tell my family I died protecting people." Of the 5 ships and 2,400 people who had come to rescue the colonists, only scattered escape pods remained. Jake found himself floating in space in a small pod with 3 other survivors, watching the alien ships collect the wreckage. The war commander's voice came through the pod's communication system one final time. "Some of you will be allowed to return to Earth. You will tell them what happened here. You will tell them that the Zephyrian Empire is superior and that human compassion is weakness." Jake looked at the burning remains of his fleet. The aliens had used humanity's greatest strength against them. They had turned the rescue fleet's desire to help others into a weapon that destroyed them. But as his escape pod drifted toward the edge of the system, Jake made a promise to himself and to the dead. Earth would know what happened here, and Earth would respond. The aliens had made one crucial mistake. They had let survivors escape to tell the story. Soon they would learn that human compassion and human anger were both forces they should have feared. The escape pod carrying Admiral Jake Morrison and 3 other survivors drifted through space for 6 days before an Earth patrol ship found them. Jake was barely conscious when the rescue team pulled him from the pod. His first words were, "Get me to Earth Command immediately." 2 days later, Jake stood in the emergency meeting room at Earth's military headquarters. His arm was in a sling and his face was covered with burns from the Liberty's explosion. Around the table sat the most powerful people on Earth: President Helen Carter, General Frank Stone, and Admiral Lisa Rodriguez, who commanded Earth's combined fleet. "Tell us exactly what happened," President Carter said quietly. Jake activated the holographic display and showed them the recordings from the rescue fleet's black box. The room fell silent as they watched the alien ambush unfold. When War Commander Zythar appeared on screen, explaining how they had used human compassion as a trap, General Stone's face turned red with anger. "They planned this for months," Jake said when the recording ended. "They studied our rescue protocols, learned our language by torturing colonists, and set up the perfect trap. They knew we would never abandon those people." President Carter stared at the table for a long moment. "How many survivors?" 127 out of 2,400, Jake replied. "The aliens let some escape pods go. They wanted us to bring this message back to Earth." Admiral Rodriguez leaned forward. "What message?" "That humanity is weak because we care about each other. That our compassion makes us easy to defeat. They want Earth to know that the Zephyrian Empire is superior." General Stone slammed his fist on the table. "My son Kevin died on that medical ship trying to save people. These aliens used our desire to help others as a weapon against us." Commander Alex Turner, who had survived in the same escape pod as Jake, spoke up. "Sir, there's something else. The aliens didn't just kill our people quickly, they enjoyed it. They talked about how the colonists screamed when they tortured them to learn English." The room went completely quiet. President Carter had been known as a peaceful leader who preferred diplomacy to war, but now her eyes were hard as steel. "They made a mistake," she said slowly. "They think our compassion is weakness. They're about to learn the difference between compassion and weakness." Within hours, news of the rescue fleet's destruction spread across Earth. Maria Santos, the engineer who had survived, appeared on every news channel. Her broken arm was in a cast as she described watching her friends die in space. "They used our mercy against us," she said to the cameras. "They knew we would come to save those colonists, and they turned our goodness into a trap." Danny Walsh, the communications specialist, testified before the Earth Council about how the aliens had jammed their distress calls. "They wanted us to die alone, unable to call for help, just like they made the colonists die alone." The public reaction was unlike anything in Earth's history. Protests filled the streets, but they weren't protests for peace. People demanded war. Signs read, "Remember the rescue fleet and human lives matter." Families of the dead crew members spoke on television, calling for justice. General Stone met with his military commanders to plan Earth's response. "We're not just fighting for revenge," he told them. "We're fighting to make sure this never happens again. No alien species will ever again use human compassion as a weapon." Admiral Rodriguez began converting Earth's exploration fleet into warships. The shipyards that had built peaceful vessels for colonization and exploration now worked day and night building weapons of war. The new ships would be different from the rescue fleet. They would be built for one purpose: destroying the Zephyrian Empire. President Carter addressed the world 3 days after Jake's return. Her speech was broadcast to every human colony and space station. "The Zephyrian Empire made a fatal error in judgment," she said. "They believed that because we care for each other, we are weak. They used our desire to save innocent lives as a trap to murder our brave rescue workers. Today I declare that Earth will respond to this act of war with the full force of human determination." The president's next words would be remembered throughout human history. They wanted to teach the galaxy that human compassion is weakness. Instead, they will learn that human compassion and human wrath are two sides of the same unbreakable will. Captain Jake Morrison, promoted to admiral after his heroic survival, was put in charge of training the new war fleet. His first order was to study every second of the alien attack recordings. Earth's military would learn from their enemies' tactics and turn them against the Zephyrians. Engineer Maria Santos was promoted to head of Earth's new Defensive Technologies Division. Her job was to design weapons and defenses specifically to counter Zephyrian plasma technology. "They showed us their weapons," she said grimly. "Now we'll show them ours." Commander Turner worked with the other rescue fleet survivors to train Earth's new combat crews. They taught the young soldiers exactly how the aliens fought, what their weaknesses were, and how to avoid the mistakes that had doomed the rescue fleet. Within 6 months, Earth's industrial capacity had completely shifted to war production. Factories that had made consumer goods now built weapons. Schools taught children about the sacrifice of the rescue fleet and why the war was necessary. Every human in the solar system understood that this was not a war of conquest but a war of justice. The new fleet would be led by Admiral Kate Mitchell, a veteran who had never lost a battle. Her flagship was named the UES Vengeance, and its mission was simple: make the Zephyrians pay for every human life they had taken. Intelligence Officer Commander Janet Lee studied the alien recordings and identified their home system. "We know where they come from," she reported, "and now we know how they fight. The question is, are we ready to show them how humans fight when they're angry?" The answer came from every human world at once. Yes, they were ready. The aliens had wanted to demonstrate their superiority by destroying Earth's rescue fleet. Instead, they had awakened something in humanity that they could never have imagined: the fury of a compassionate species pushed beyond its limits. 6 months after the rescue fleet massacre, Earth's war machine was ready. Admiral Kate Mitchell stood on the bridge of her flagship, the UES Vengeance, watching as the largest fleet in human history prepared for departure. 132 warships filled the space around Earth's orbital stations, each one built with a single purpose: destroying the Zephyrian Empire. Unlike the rescue ships that had been destroyed, these vessels were pure weapons of war. The battleships carried enough firepower to level entire cities. The destroyers were fast and deadly, designed to hunt down enemy ships that tried to escape. The fighters were small, but vicious, able to swarm larger ships like angry wasps. Captain Peter Harris, Mitchell's tactical advisor, studied the intelligence reports one more time. "Admiral, our spy drones have identified 17 Zephyrian military bases in this sector. They're spread out across 6 star systems, probably to make them harder to attack all at once." Admiral Mitchell nodded. She had learned from the aliens' success against the rescue fleet. Instead of rushing straight to their homeworld like the Zephyrians probably expected, she would strike at their supply lines first, cut off their resources, destroy their forward bases, then move in for the final kill. "We start with the Ross 128 system," she decided. "Intelligence shows they have a major mining operation there with light defenses. We hit them fast and hard, then move to the next target before they can organize a response." Dr. Sam Foster, head of Earth's New Weapons Research Division, had spent months studying the wreckage from the rescue fleet battle. His team had developed new plasma shields that could deflect Zephyrian weapons, and human plasma cannons that hit harder than anything the aliens had seen before. "Their shields work by dispersing energy across a wide area," Dr. Foster explained to the fleet commanders. "But if you hit the same spot repeatedly with focused bursts, you can punch right through. Our new targeting computers can do exactly that." Commander Janet Lee had been busy gathering intelligence about Zephyrian military structure. Her spy network had discovered something crucial. The aliens relied heavily on centralized command systems. Each fleet was controlled by a single command ship, and if that ship was destroyed, the others would be confused and disorganized for several minutes. "Take out the big ship first," she advised the attack squadrons. "The others will scatter like confused insects." Admiral Jake Morrison, now recovered from his injuries, had been training the new crews using recordings from the rescue fleet battle. Every pilot and gunner had watched the alien ambush dozens of times, learning how the enemy moved and fought. "They're good at coordinated attacks," he told the fighter pilots, "but they're not used to opponents who fight back effectively. The rescue fleet was designed to protect and evacuate, not to destroy. You are different. You are weapons." Maria Santos had worked day and night with her engineering teams to give human ships every possible advantage. The new vessels had better engines, stronger hulls, and weapon systems that could track multiple targets at once. Most importantly, they had learned from the rescue fleet's mistakes. "The aliens jammed our communications last time," she explained to the communications officers. "These ships have backup systems with frequency hopping technology. They won't silence us again." The first strike force consisted of 12 ships led by Captain Harris. Their target was the Zephyrian mining platform in the Ross 128 system, defended by only 3 escort ships. It was a perfect test of humanity's new combat capabilities. Captain Harris activated the attack formation as his ships dropped out of hyperspace. The Zephyrian mining platform was huge, easily the size of a small city, with massive industrial equipment extracting rare metals from the asteroid belt. All ships, execute attack pattern Alpha, Harris commanded. Remember, hit the command ship first. The human ships moved like a pack of wolves. 6 destroyers attacked the Zephyrian escorts while 4 battleships focused their fire on the mining platform's control center. 2 scout ships circled around to cut off any escape routes. The aliens were completely surprised. They had grown comfortable after their easy victory over the rescue fleet, never expecting humans to strike back so quickly or so effectively. Their defensive fire was wild and uncoordinated. Within 20 minutes, all 3 escort ships were destroyed. The mining platform's shields failed under concentrated plasma fire from the human battleships. Captain Harris watched with satisfaction as the alien facility exploded in a series of brilliant flashes. Target destroyed. No human casualties, he reported back to Admiral Mitchell. The new weapons performed perfectly. News of the successful attack spread through the human fleet like wildfire. After months of preparation and training, they had finally struck back at their enemies. The crew members cheered and celebrated, but Admiral Mitchell remained focused on the larger mission. This was just the beginning, she announced to the entire fleet. The aliens thought they could use our compassion against us. They thought they could murder our rescue workers and we would do nothing. Today they learned they were wrong. Over. The next 3 weeks, the human fleet struck 6 more Zephyrian installations. Each attack was more successful than the last, as the crews gained experience and confidence. The aliens tried to respond, but their ships were designed for ambushing rescue vessels, not fighting determined warships. Commander Turner, now captain of his own destroyer, led a strike against a Zephyrian supply depot. His ship's weapons cut through alien defenses like they were made of paper. "This is for Dr. Stone and the Hope," he said as he watched the enemy base explode. The Zephyrians finally realized that humanity was serious about war. They began pulling their ships back to defend their core systems, abandoning their forward bases. But it was too late. The human fleet had momentum now, and Admiral Mitchell had no intention of slowing down. "Next target is their main naval base in the Wolf 359 system," she announced. 60 ships guard it, but they won't be expecting our new tactics. We're going to hit them with everything we have. As the war fleet prepared for its largest battle yet, every human crew member understood they were fighting for more than revenge. They were fighting to prove that humanity's compassion was not weakness but strength that could not be broken. The final battle began at dawn on the Zephyrian homeworld. Admiral Kate Mitchell watched from the Bridge of the Vengeance as her massive fleet dropped out of hyperspace around the alien planet. 132 human warships faced the entire Zephyrian home defense force of over 400 vessels. "Remember why we're here," Mitchell announced to the entire fleet. "They used our mercy against us. They murdered our people who came to help innocent colonists. Today we show them what happens when humanity decides that mercy has limits." The Zephyrian planet was beautiful from space, with purple oceans and silver cities that sparkled in the light of their red sun. But Admiral Mitchell felt no sympathy for the world below. Those cities had celebrated when the rescue fleet was destroyed. War Commander Zithar's face appeared on the communication screens, just as arrogant as he had been during the ambush 6 months ago. "Humans, you have come far from your little world to die. We destroyed your rescue ships easily. Today we finish what we started." Captain Peter Harris, commanding the 1st Attack Wing, responded before Admiral Mitchell could speak. "You made one mistake, alien. You let some of us live to tell the story. Today you learn why that was a bad idea." The battle formation Admiral Mitchell had planned was perfect. She divided her fleet into 3 groups, each with a specific mission. Captain Harris led 40 ships in a direct assault on the orbital defense platforms. Admiral Mitchell's main force of 60 ships drove straight toward the planet to destroy the command centers. The 3rd group, led by Captain Turner, had 30 ships with a special mission: rescue any surviving human colonists and deliver justice for the massacre. The Zephyrians attacked first, sending waves of fighters and cruisers toward the human fleet. But these aliens had never faced determined human warriors before. They were used to ambushing helpless rescue ships, not fighting enemies who wanted to destroy them completely. Captain Harris's destroyers tore through the alien fighters like sharks through small fish. The new human plasma cannons, designed by Dr. Foster's team, punched holes in Zephyrian shields that had seemed invincible 6 months ago. First orbital platform destroyed, Harris reported as a massive alien station exploded in brilliant fire, moving to Target 2. On the planet's surface, the Zephyrian military commanders watched their defenses crumble with growing panic. They had expected an easy victory like before, but the humans fought with a fury they had never imagined possible. Admiral Mitchell's main force reached the planet's upper atmosphere and began bombing military targets. The Zephyrian command centers, where they had planned the rescue fleet ambush, were turned to smoking ruins by concentrated plasma fire. "Target their communication arrays," Mitchell ordered. "I want them to feel as helpless as our people felt when you jammed their distress calls." Captain Turner's rescue group had found something even more important than military targets. Hidden in underground prisons were the surviving colonists from New Haven, the people the rescue fleet had died trying to save. Most were wounded and starving, but they were alive. "We found them," Turner reported, his voice filled with emotion. "Governor Lisa Parker and about 300 others. They've been prisoners this whole time." Maria Santos, now commanding her own engineering ship, worked to break through the alien prison shields. "I'm cutting through their barriers now. These people are going home." The rescue of the colonists was broadcast to every human ship in the fleet. The crew members who had joined the war to avenge the dead now saw the living people they were also fighting to save. Their determination became even stronger. War Commander Zythar tried one final desperate attack, leading his personal fleet of 50 ships directly at Admiral Mitchell's flagship. But the human admiral had been waiting for this moment. "All ships, focus fire on the command vessel," she ordered. "End this." The concentrated fire from 20 human battleships overwhelmed Zythar's shields in seconds. His ship exploded in a ball of green plasma, taking the alien war leader with it. The remaining Zephyrian ships, suddenly without their central command, began to scatter in confusion just as Commander Lee had predicted. "Attention all Zephyrian forces," Admiral Mitchell broadcast to the surviving alien ships. "Your war commander is dead. Your fleets are destroyed. Your planet is defenseless. Surrender now, or be destroyed." The alien response was immediate and complete. Ship after ship powered down their weapons and transmitted surrender signals. The Zephyrian Empire that had seemed so powerful 6 months ago was broken in a single day of battle. Dr. Sam Foster's medical teams worked around the clock treating the rescued colonists. Many had been tortured by the aliens during their imprisonment, but they were finally free. Governor Parker, weak but alive, managed to send a message to Earth. "The rescue fleet did not die in vain," she said. "They came to save us, and even though they were destroyed, Earth never gave up on us. Today we are free because brave people refused to let evil go unpunished." The peace treaty was signed 1 week later on the surface of the Zephyrian homeworld. The aliens were forced to surrender all their weapons and military technology. Their empire was disbanded, and Earth took control of their star systems to ensure they could never again threaten innocent people. A memorial was built in orbit around the Zephyrian planet, listing the names of all 2,273 crew members who had died in the rescue fleet. The inscription read simply, "They died answering a call for help. Their sacrifice taught the galaxy that humanity's compassion is matched only by its capacity for justice." Admiral Jake Morrison, standing beside the memorial, spoke the final words. "The aliens thought our mercy was weakness. They learned that human mercy and human wrath are both forces that reshape the galaxy. We came to the stars to help others and explore new worlds, but we will always remember that some evils can only be stopped by strength." Captain Turner established the new Colonial Defense Force to ensure that human rescue operations would never again be vulnerable to such attacks. Every ship would have military escorts, and every rescue worker would be protected by the full might of human determination. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humanity was a species that would travel across the stars to help strangers in need, but they were also a species that would wage total war against anyone who used that compassion as a weapon. The assault on Earth's rescue fleet had indeed triggered humanity's fierce revenge, and that revenge had made the galaxy a safer place for all peaceful beings.